Member for Diego Martin West.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I would like to thank the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and most specifically the constituents of Diego Martin West, which also happen to include the former member and the Prime Minister. I also acknowledge for her leadership, my opposition leader, our leader, the honorable member for Arima. Mr. Speaker, I want to make it abundantly clear that we, the members of opposition, will never wish the government failure, as we all believe in and love Trinidad and Tobago. However, there are some things being proposed that need to be highlighted because there are failures. Let me begin by addressing the member for Tobago West. Member for Tobago West, I tell you, watch your friends that you keep. The people that you are calling your friends today did not know where the main ridge was in 2022. And they spoke out against the former finance minister, the member for Diego Martin Northeast, when he came in this very house and advocated in 2022 for cancer treatment for Tobago. I see the member for Oropouche East is not present. In 2020, the member for Oropouche East said this: I believe the member for Diego Martin Northeast must explain to the country how could it be that Tobago, with a population of 60,000 people, is given over $2 billion, while regional... So whilst the member for Tobago West comes here and talks about the percentages for Tobago, the very side he sits on does not support his ideologies for the island of Tobago. It must be noted that Tobago House of Assembly got the largest allocations under the PNM, and that is separate from a loan financing for other development projects conducted by central government as well. In addition, the PNM in this parliament approved for the THA for the first time in our history the ability to borrow from international lending agencies to the tune of $300 million. The UNC gave Tobago a mere $32 million from the consolidated fund, and again trying to fool the people of Tobago by adding a loan not yet received by the country to the THA. And I'll tell you about that loan very soon. Mr. Speaker, the government claims that the previous PNM Minister of Finance allocated only $2.6 billion to the THA for fiscal 2025, a figure based on the DRC formula. And now for the supplementation, less than 1% is what Tobago gets Tobago West. So in your retort, please understand that those you are standing by do not stand by you. Now let's talk about the loan from CAF for coastal protection projects in Tobago, which was negotiated by the member for Diego Martin Northeast several years ago. It was based on a list of projects identified by the last PNM administration for the THA. Now the story of the loan is this: shortly after the loan was approved, the administration changed, and the now Chief Secretary, the Honorable Member for Diego Martin Northeast, out of respect for the change in leadership, wrote to him and asked them to identify their own list of projects. They failed to do so. And as a Minister of Finance that cares about Tobago and cares about Trinidad and Tobago, he had to seek an extension of time from CAF for the disbursement of the loan in a letter to CAF dated April 7th, 2023. The former Minister of Finance then sent a team to Tobago over a year ago in an attempt to get the new THA to make up its mind and finalize its list of coastal projects. Up to April 20th, 2023, they fail and they fail and they fail and they fail again. Since the new list of projects has to be scoped and tendered, this loan that they speak about, Mr. Speaker, there is no way this can be implemented in the 3 months remaining in 2025 fiscal. So once again, in this mid-year supplementation, they are being fictitious, mendacious, and trying to fool the people of Tobago. And for the people of Tobago, I quote an Express 2022 article, which stated, take time and listen, Barataria Sawa. 3 Trinidad-based contractors received close to $100 million in roadwork contracts from the THA under the leadership of the current Chief Secretary. And you know who's in the picture, Mr. Speaker? The Honorable Member for Tobago West. Now, let's make it abundantly clear. Let's make it abundantly clear. While the greatest THA allocation has been given under the People's National Movement, a list of projects are there. The ANR Airport expansion, Sherburne Police Station, Roxborough Police Station, Roxborough Fire Station, Roxborough Admin Complex, 2 new ferries, a cargo boat, Hillsborough Dam, street lighting projects, wastewater treatment plant in Canaan Bonaccord, booster stations. And listen, Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't read the entire book, but there's an entire list of projects done by WASA. Also, solar lighting for the main ridge, the place they didn't know existed. Funding for businesses through NEDCO, Ministry of Agriculture, and Ministry of Trade. Member for Tobago West, I hope you know who your friends are. Be very careful. That's where he should be. So, Mr. Speaker, I also listened to the Minister of Education, the member for San Fernando West, a man I truly respect in terms of the work he has done as an educator. But, Honorable Member, please do not be dragged by those on that side. He mentioned the government, despite tight finances, will distribute 18,000 laptops to all incoming Form 1 secondary school students in the new school year. But what is the benefit of providing these devices without assessing means and digital literacy? What is the benefit of providing devices supposedly to upskill when the opportunities are not there? What is the benefit of providing these devices and there's no talk of e-books, something that the former Minister of Education was working very hard on, making it make sense? A figure of $76 million. But when asked what stage they are in the procurement, there was radio silence from the minister from San Fernando West. He spoke about equity for students, yet in fact, what they are doing is quite the opposite, and just allowing for wastages of taxpayers' money. Schools and libraries have been outfitted with computers. Added to which, rather than discuss where they are, where it's going, there's radio silence from the member from San Fernando West. And I urge you, member for San Fernando West, do not be dragged by your colleagues on that side. I want to add, Mr. Speaker, by echoing a point made by the member for Diego Martin Northeast, that the IMF in its Article 4 consultation with Trinidad and Tobago said in May 2024, Trinidad and Tobago was undergoing a gradual and sustained economic recovery. Over the last 2 sittings, the government sought to paint a picture of national collapse. And who, Mr. Speaker, are they blaming? The previous administration. Not global price shocks, not market volatility, not external constraints, not a pandemic, but solely the PNM. And that is because they are not about responsible governance. They are about rants. What happened previously was responsible governance in the face of extraordinary headwinds. This $3.14 billion supplementary appropriation, which they dubbed a cleanup, is in fact a patchwork of their own administrative inexperience and inability to prioritize. The finance minister presented the mid-year review emphasizing that the UNC government inherited a severely troubled economy due to reckless fiscal mismanagement. But in a quizzical irony, devoted a large portion of his speech to blaming this side of the bench for underfunding critical expenses and causing an economic crisis. Let us be clear, this is not our shortfall. This is the latest chapter in their long history of serial inability to manage. They have suggested that Trinidad and Tobago is a wasteland on the brink of economic ruin. And this is to throw aside the data of the IMF, to mock the analysis of the S&P, and to ignore our hard-won gains under close to impossible circumstances, a pandemic, a commodity crash, and global inflation. Mr. Speaker, budgeting, as the member for Diego Martin Northeast knows, is a dynamic exercise. I am not sure if the member for Faizabad understands that. In a commodity-driven economy, adjustments happen all the time. We did what prudent governments do: match cash flow with priority spending while protecting social programs, wages, and national stability. Minister of Finance, you cannot accuse us of under-budgeting while simultaneously admitting that expenditure was strategically managed to contain the deficit. You cannot. It does not add up. A year one economic student understands that. What this government calls arrears is often scheduled payment, not mismanagement. But this minister is more interested in performance than fiscal truth. And we also saw it with the member for Labre with his performance the other day. And let us not forget, they have ballooned. And let us not forget, they have ballooned the projected deficit to $9.67 billion, the largest mid-year gap we have seen in years, yet no plan to fund it. There's no financing framework, no revenue strategy, just noise. If you listen to the member for Arima, she mentioned in her presentation that the way the People's National Movement governed was based on guiding documents. Vision 2030, the Road to Recovery, the Community Recovery Report. What is their plan? What is their guiding strategy? You ask them and they have none. The member from Caroni Central said, "We attract money!" To understand that. Just That's what you said. That's what you said, member. The Minister of Finance promises reform, Mr. Speaker, but scraps the very tools designed to collect revenue. It's like unplugging your water pump in a drought and promising rain. You seek to add $9 billion to the deficit, cancel tax instruments, abolish the Revenue Authority, and have no clear borrowing strategy. What you're selling behind closed doors to cover this bill. We want to know. We want to find out. The time for secrecy is over, according to the member for Oropouche East. We've heard the numbers: $728 for health, $296 million for education, $489 million for public utilities, and $275 million for public administration. They have not, however, given specifics, because when we asked the questions, they kept on saying, "We will tell you in due course." Due course has come, and there are no answers. So we must ask, have the UNC's mid-year adjustments lived up to their manifesto pledges and their own previous critiques of the PNM? We are at a point where accountability must meet reality and plans must meet performance. To echo the opposition leader, the honeymoon is over. The people deserve more than empty slogans. They deserve honest answers and structured action, not mistruths, miscommunication, and playing the blame game. Now let's look a little bit closer. This was not a mid-year review, Mr. Speaker. It was a mid-year rant with no fiscal framework, no macro forecast, and no financial logic. The finance minister claims extra allocations are needed, precisely because the PNM under-budgeted the sectors he now must finance. If that is so, we would expect the UNC to beef up key trade support agencies and release clear policies on forex and customs. Not just talk. So far, concrete measures have been nil. They propose a new foreign exchange allocation committee to ensure more transparent and strategic FX distribution. But what is the timeline on this? Who will it comprise? All we are getting is a bunch of lip service, no concrete specifics. Investor confidence is built not just on fiscal restraint, but on coherent strategy, accountability, and transparent execution. Announcements must translate into access. Incentives have to be action. Mr. Speaker, we have already introduced structured interventions with Exim Bank and FX window support for manufacturers and importers. The new committee is a committee of words. Let's talk about investor confidence. How do you think investors feel knowing the government now governs by vendetta? That audits are weaponized and boards are removed overnight, including those on the stock exchange. It is not just that they lack a strategy, it's that they seem proud of their ignorance. Now, when you look at trade and industry under the previous administration, the growth in non-energy GDP increased by 75%. It was built under the PNM's watch. When we talk about the trade and repair sector contributing 24.6% to GDP, it was driven by the PNM's facilitation of exports and expansion of TT BizLink. The Unified Trade and Investment Promotion Agency, InvestTT, ExportTT, CreativeTT, was in fact PNM policy, not UNC invention. The PNM progressed the streamlining of export promotion and implementing a port community system to speed customs clearance. These were concrete steps towards transforming and enhancing the competitiveness of Trinidad and Tobago's trade and business environment. Today, they arrive here, once again, empty-handed. The Standing Finance Committee heard little about new trade initiatives, even as foreign exchange shortages linger. The UNC must make good on its own diversification pledges, such as its plan that would benefit my constituents, a yachting hub in Chaguaramas, by backing them with resources. Without that, talk of building new industries continues to ring hollow. I echo our colleague from Barataria Samoa's June 2024 warning to the SFC. Citizens must know where the money has gone. Yet in Standing Finance, they could not say what percentage or what amount was spent that would allow for the basis of additional ask. We are here today debating an additional ask of $3.6 billion, but yet they are quiet on the $10 billion that could have been retained through the TTRA. They kicked it out, not based on governance, but based on politics. This is a new time, and this time calls for governance over politics. Let us always act in the best interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and seek a clear path forward. The TTRA was not imposed, and it was supported by those professionals. PwC, Deloitte, the Chamber of Commerce, all supported the TTRA. Yet in their very first move, they try to repeal it. Well, at least you know what you did. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, when we step back, the pattern is clear. Under our stewardship, revenue rose from $34 billion to $54 billion, even after COVID-19 and global energy price collapse. We maintained jobs, kept schools, protected pensions, and managed public sector wage negotiations responsibly. The IMF in May 2024 stated, for the first time, Trinidad and Tobago is undergoing a gradual and sustained recovery. The PNM laid the foundation across every sector. UNC promised the moon during elections. The mid-year review reveals barely a staircase. Mr. Speaker, this debate cannot only be about what went wrong. It must also be about what they will do right and what has been done right. Let us rise above the blame game and get to the work of recovery, reform, and restoration. What do we see, Mr. Speaker, when we tally the facts? The PNM's original 2025 budget laid out numerous sectoral plans. Many of those plans are sound and remain the framework for growth. The UNC came in promising to build on them and fix PNM's so-called mismanagement, but the supplementary appropriation suggests a terrible approach. More deficits, more borrowing, including an almost $11 billion projected shortfall. And while our conversation continues to focus on this $3 billion, I repeat, Mr. Speaker, keep in mind the $10 billion that could have been recouped from the TTRA. So I say to the government, the time for slogans is over. We need substance. Let us put people first, fund real job training for our youth. I've seen the member for Muruga Tableland meet with our cultural ambassadors. Once again, photo opportunity politics, when we could be using and nurturing our cultural tools in Trinidad and Tobago to earn foreign exchange and grow our economy. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I want to say, let us make these media allocations a turning point, not just a paperwork exercise. Let us demand that every dollar allocated reflects the manifesto campaigned on and the needs that our citizens face today. Only then will the UNC's so-called new hands, hopefully, not be, according to the Attorney General, grubby hands. May it steer us toward prosperity instead of merely treading water. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I thank you.